Um, First of all, thank everybody for coming. This meeting should be all of our athletes and parents who are registered for our fall sports for high school. That should be volleyball, cross country, and football. If you're not in that group, I'm guessing you just want to be nosy and see what's going on. Anyway, thank you guys for all attending. I also want to thank our coaches that are here. And just on my screen, the only ones I see are Coach Brooke, Crystal Cunningham, Coach HK. I know Kelly Hall is here because I couldn't be here if Kelly Hall wasn't here facilitating this. So thank you guys for attending. And I know Coach Cecil and Coach Mark Malcolm are here representing those fall sports. So guys, I really wanted to first communicate the purpose of this meeting. I wanted to update you all to kind of the thought processes that I'm having as the head of our athletics department. I want to say with this whole COVID situation, our conversations as a staff have changed. I want to say from week to week, but one could even say it's changed from hour to hour. Coming into this meeting, our original plan was to try to open up and do some summer training with our coaches on, August 17th. I'm going to start by saying that right now, my number one goal going into this fall season is to provide the safest environment possible for my staff and our athletes. And that is number one, and that will continue to be number one while we're operating in this COVID environment. So like I said before, our original plan was to start training with our coaches under TAPS. It would still be a part of our summer programs, working in no helmets, no shoulder pads, literally just working on anything other than full contact football. So again, our plan was to start doing that on the 17th, and some of our coaches may have communicated that to you. Since I last met with them, I did call all of them to kind of inform them that much like a lot of the COVID plans, those plans have changed. Going into that 8/17 date, met with all the coaches to kind of go through the guidelines from all these alphabets, and I'll go through them. The CDC, the UIL, the TAPS, the local and state guidelines, and really we went through those with a fine-tooth comb, and we wanted to make sure, again, that we were presenting the most safe atmosphere that we could. So that is where we were planning originally, and like I said, those plans changed. I want to go on record as saying we will not open this athletic department until we feel that we can adequately do so, mitigating the risk of this COVID virus spreading. So I wanted to start that conversation by saying we've already started in plans of what that would look like. This is going to be a more lengthy process because I want to go through a few stages of pretty much vetting our plans. I'm going to need approval from the Shelton administration, meaning the director of the school, the head of school, and all those kind of people. I also have to go through our athletics task force, which is myself, Coach Crystal Cunningham, who is our head trainer, Eve Herman, she has a brand new title that's pretty huge, but she was the school nurse for a long time, as well as go through all the legal counsel for Shelton School and this Shelton Medical Advisory Committee. So for me, I thought it was imperative to go through all those different channels to make sure that what we present to you guys going into the season is, without a doubt, the safest that we can put our kids in. So I say that to say that that is going to stretch out the time that it will take to prepare for the season. And realistically, for me, at this point in this process, in this COVID environment, my primary objective is completely different than it has been in the past. In the past, right about this time, my primary objective would be to have the best team, the most prepared team to go out and compete. But again, I will say my primary objective is to make sure that our kids are safe. And quite frankly, as a parent myself, if the athletic director came on this thing and said anything else, my kid probably would not be participating. My next step, once we get past that approval process, will be the training of our staff. The first step in that will be a meeting much like this to talk through all the stuff that the results of that the findings from those different groups. The next step in that will be the staff will then meet on the campus and walk through all these protocols that we're putting in place. Once we walk through them and had a chance to talk through and go through all the small intricacies, only then will we share that plan with you guys, and only then will we decide to open up this program. Now, the one thing that we're running into that most schools are not is we're building a brand new campus. I have been over there and it is beautiful and gorgeous. And I won't go into too many descriptive words because I will start to sound a little effeminate, and that is not my goal on this call. So that is one thing that will also be a part of a thing that will affect our ability to move in and start all this stuff, is making sure that, us being able to walk through, we got to be able to walk through on the campus. So my understanding is within the next week or so, we should be getting a certificate of occupancy. And this might be hot off the press to some people who don't talk to all the other people in the school daily. So I feel very privileged to be able to share that with you. When we get that step accomplished, we will, like I said, part of this process is making sure our coaches know what the expectation is. I don't want to leave a rock unturned. I don't want to leave anything to chance. I don't want to go into this thing haphazardly. And I think going through this process in the manner that we're doing it is really put into perspective for our coaches how important this whole thing is and how intricate we need to be in every part of this. The last thing I want is for any one of our kids, any one of our staff members to walk away from this, or I guess I should say not be able to walk away from this. So I need you guys all to understand that that is where my heart is as a parent, where my heart is as an administrator, and also as a coach. See what else I got on here. So the one last thing that I wanted to add, and again, my goal is never to keep you guys on here all day, but to make sure I give you vital information. Realistically, as information becomes available, I will make sure that I am meeting with our head coaches weekly, so that as things change, they are getting the most up-to-date information, and I will have them schedule meetings with you guys to kind of keep you abreast to what is changing, what's going good, what's not going well, all that kind of stuff. I really want to make sure that we're being transparent and keeping you guys in the loop. But again, the last thing I want to say is I have no intention of making any moves until I believe that we can truly keep our kids as safe as possible opening up this program. So really that is the crux of what I had to say. At this point, I have no problem with fielding questions. And I guess, my coaching staff that are on here, they thought it was real funny that I was ordering palios for dinner. So they said it'll be about another 35, 40 minutes before it gets here. So we got all that time to talk.
So I have a quick question as it relates to you still making decisions, which we completely understand. One, at what point do we have a drop dead date to know in order to change our kids' schedules? Obviously, if athletics is not going to happen, then class schedules need to change and they need to get into other classes or whatever the case may be. How are you looking at that? And then does the decision, even in light of today's news of all college sports, or at least Pac-10, all of these that have already called their athletics, would that come into play with the fact that at that level they're not playing? Should we consider that on the high school level?
Hey, Kelly, can we take off the, what is this, the pin, what is this called when I only can see myself? All right. So to answer your question, there is no drop dead date. If you need to, if we get into the school year and you need to change your kid's schedule because of whatever is going on with the sport, that will be completely up to you. What I will say is one thing that I've learned that we can do, we can facilitate strength and conditioning in a safe manner. And that's been proven by our summer training program. So if we're not doing a sport, if it comes down to that, we still will be looking to train and keep our kids active. And that's been a goal for a lot of our parents. There are parents that, they put their kids in these sports, not so much for the competitive part of it, but really for the social part and as well as keeping them active. Now, us counseling a season or us canceling our program for the year or anything of that nature, that is, I guess for lack of a better word, that's going to be above my pay grade. That is a decision that will be handed down from our school board and our director. I get to be a part of the conversation, but again, at the end of the day, I won't be the person, I don't have the authority to just say, hey, we're not going to do it.
Coach, just a question. So for cross country, there are only like 21 kids and it's running and there's really no contact. So are we saying that too is being pushed off as well?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
Oh, cross country is so few kids and there's no contact. Is that being pushed off as well? Even the training part?
Well, when you say it like that, I mean, pushed off, make it sound like it's somebody attacking you. You got
no. I mean, is it being pushed later?
So yes, the answer to that question is yes. And again, I wouldn't be doing my job correctly if I didn't make sure that we were protecting them. Even in the conversations I've been around cross country, they're taking precautions within the sport. As a matter of fact, I have a TAPS meeting tomorrow where they're kind of laying out guidelines for cross country itself. Listening to the guidelines that they laid out today for volleyball, I was amazed at some of the steps that they're taking as far as the people who work the board, the scoreboard have to wear gloves and they have to wear masks, and it's a lot of information to digest. So to answer your question, yes, we're going to back all of them up. I won't put any of our kids at risk that don't need to be. Okay. And I know that it's frustrating not working out with the team, working out by yourself, because I get to work out in my garage and next to my wife's house. And it is not as encouraging as it is being with the team and having that social aspect. But I can sleep better at night knowing that I'm not putting your kids at risk, and I'm not putting that young man that we call our head coach at risk.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I said young man, honestly, he's not young. But anyway.
Coach, I have a follow-up question about that also regarding cross country. Could the cross country coaches at least be sending workouts for the kids to be kind of changing it up and practicing already?
Definitely, they absolutely can. As a matter of fact, that is the expectation. And I'm glad that you brought that up on this call, because if it hasn't been happening up until this point, it definitely needs to be happening going forward. My understanding was that we were sending out different communication to make sure that our kids were taking steps in that direction to continue to work out on their own.
Yes, you are. Levi's been running, and Coach Young has been very good about setting the expectation for what he is looking for. So I guess as a follow-up question then for cross country, and if I missed this, I apologize. What's your schedule, Coach Jones, or your thinking as to when we will have a little bit more of a clear direction?
So really, like I said at the beginning of this, we have a lot of channels that we have to make sure we clear this through. And in the past, when I'm doing normal athletics, it's very easy for me to put the plan together, institute the plan, and move forward. In this current environment, I'm not comfortable with just doing what we've always done. I feel a lot better implementing a plan that's been approved by the school, this medical advisory team, and the legal team, just to make sure that we're operating everything in our best practices.
Does this include the cheer and chargerettes practices that were supposed to happen outside next week?
This will include them as well. And
okay, so no practice next week?
No, ma'am. And I have, and Coach Brooke, who is the director, is on here as well. I called and had a conversation with each of them today, kind of expressing my feelings and the thoughts that I got talking to our director and our CFO. So yes, that
Perfect.
does include cheer and chargerette.
Great, thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Coach, what is the plan for 8th period athletics class for high school students?
That's a great question. So right now, so it's interesting enough is the school presented the plan that you guys got in the town hall a couple weeks ago. I want to say it's a week and a half ago. So literally, we've been looking at that plan and trying to figure out how to best implement that. And I say that because the goal going into this year was to have a scenario where during the school year, eighth period, when you're out of season, allows you the opportunity to work out with your specific sport coach. So you guys being in volleyball, once volleyball season was over, it would have gave you the opportunity to do your strength and conditioning as well as do skills with Coach HK. So now we're trying to regroup and figure out what's the best course of action for making that happen in this current environment. So literally, we're still in the process of getting that whole thing worked out. But as the school stands and as they wrote it on paper, we're going to address it much like it's a normal class within that hybrid model and that virtual model. But realistically, we get an hour a day, and in that virtual model, we're not even doing eighth period every day. So I'm trying to come up with a plan so that we can take advantage of that hour, get us with our coaches, get that interaction, get the team stuff going. But I can't even do that until I get all of this stuff in writing and present it to the parents of what we're doing to keep everybody safe.
So I
Coach
guess
Isaac.
concern
Sorry.
with conditioning is during the summer program, it's limited to kids.
Are they playing or not?
I don't think so.
Nothing definitive.
Coach Jones, I've had a few questions already in a text.
Mhm.
The cheer and chargerettes need to wait for some information from their coaches. There will probably be some virtual practices starting, even though we're not doing any in person.
Quick question: who within the organization and your staff, who's responsible for putting together the protocol that's going to be followed for the athletes for the school? Just I want to understand more about. I understand the CDC guidelines. I get all the different entities that are involved in putting together guidance out there, but within the organization, within Shelton and within the AD program, who is going to be putting together, a very, detailed program and protocol for the athletes to follow, along with the coaching staff, to keep them healthy and safe?
Got it. That is an excellent question. And the way that I will answer that is it is a conglomeration of people that are providing that information. I mentioned earlier the athletics, the COVID athletics task force, and I gave them that name. That consists of myself, Coach Cunningham, who is our head athletic trainer, Eve Herman, and Coach Q. Coach Q did an awesome job of facilitating our summer program, and we had 0 cases of COVID come up. So he did a phenomenal job of making sure that he instituted all of the protocol. So we are starting with that protocol. But again, it's going to look a little different because we are bringing it to a brand new campus that we've never been on before. So that involves having people like Glenn Brown, who is our CFO, who's in charge of the building process at the new building. And it also includes bringing it in front of our doctor, which is that medical advisory team, and making sure that legally we're doing everything in our power to make sure everybody is safe. So it's, again, I like saying this word because it makes me sound smart. It's a conglomeration of people.
I get that, but my question, there's within that conglomeration, I assume there's going to be one person that's going to be charging the way to kind of, I guess, create the framework for the school. Mm-hmm. And do we have identified that person, who that person is going to be yet? Kind of put the framework of the program.
So that task force is really the person. So literally, it's not. The one thing that I've learned in this line of work is when you have one person kind of leading the charge, you're limited to how far you can go because that one person only has so much knowledge. So we're literally trying to make sure this is a team effort so that we're not having one person take the brunt of this huge burden.
So, and you said there's a medical team that's part of this. What is their role going to be for you? Are they going to be assessing your plan, or are they going to be recommending implementation of your plan?
So they'll be doing both. So every stage of this plan is going to go through the critique of the attorney. It's going to go through the critique of Our trainer is going to go through the critique of our head of school. Nope, I can't call her that. She's the director of our school, not the head of school. So our associate director as well as our head. So all of that is a lengthy process, and that is what will take us a little longer than most.
So if you were to put a timeline on that for us, when do you foresee seeing something for us parents to be able to take a look at to get us comfortable with, the protocol to be in place?
To be 100% honest, I don't know exactly when that timeline is. I don't want to rush it. I want everybody to go through this thing with a fine-tooth comb, and I want them to make sure that we get this right. And I say that because literally I cannot afford to get this wrong. I had a conversation with one of our coaches today, and I remember when I started this job, my biggest fear was that I would have referees show up at the wrong gym. That's not where we are on this. For me, this is a life or death thing, and I'm addressing it as such. And quite frankly, if everything that we've done the normal way we did it in the past is going to change, I don't have a problem with that. If I need to have people sign up the day before, I'm okay with that as well, just to make sure that, again, our kids and our coaches are safe.
Thank you.
Oh, not a problem. Not a problem.
Thank you. And I just want to make sure I understand clearly that at this point, there is no set date for fall or for football or really any athletics until we get a clear protocol that you guys get a green light to move forward with athletics. Is that correct?
So I'll give you this. September 8th is the day that we are to start the fall season. Everything before that is the summer, and we're allowed to do, what do you call these, voluntary workouts. So if we get the voluntary workouts, that would be great. But I will not lose sleep if my kids are a little out of shape, but they're alive.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Coach.
But I guess the concern is that, yes, you had a successful summer, which all districts cannot say that, but you're talking about the volume of kids coming back into this environment that, of course, we're all in limbo with. How is that controlled? And how do you control a sport like volleyball where you've got 14 plus players touching a sweaty ball, hands-on with each other? You've got referees touching the ball. How do you make those decisions to make sure that that's a safe environment when you work so hard? The school has done a tremendous job in getting everything set up and prepared with masks and face shields and alternate transferring periods, alternate lunches, those types of things. And then you throw all the kids in the gym and they're on top of each other and they're sweating and they're rubbing their faces and they're not going to be 6 feet apart. How do you even go about knowing that that's going to be a safe environment?
Andrea, I think that the important thing here is that there's no 100% safe environment. And I can't even give you my personal opinion about this entire thing because it conflicts with my professional opinion. My job as the athletic administrator is to facilitate what the school is asking me to do. So to answer your question, there is zero ways to make sure, I can't even say zero because you can put everybody out there in a plastic suit and figure a way to do this. But sitting on that call with TAPS today, just listening to their guidelines for putting on games, they're going to have everybody who shows up at that gym do the survey for all the,
Questions.
Yeah, so do the questions about the whether you have all the stuff for the COVID and all that kind of stuff. But to answer your question, there is no way to 100% guarantee that your kid will be safe from catching the COVID virus. There's no way to 100% guarantee that. And that was not how I started this call. How I started this call was to say, I want to make sure I am providing the safest environment I can provide.
Freddie?
Yes, ma'am.
Hey, it's Prudence. Of course, I've got something to say. I want to say again, I think that the school has done an amazing job, and I think y'all are doing everything you can. And, if someone is uncomfortable, then I think they just ought to make that decision for their own child. But you cannot, none of y'all should feel the responsibility of nobody should blame y'all if something happens. Unfortunate if somebody getting sick. I mean, you're doing everything you can. Hell, you can go to the grocery store and you can get it. You can go to Walmart and you can get it. Unless people are living in a bubble, you might can get it playing football or soccer or track or baseball, but you guys are not responsible. I mean, you're responsible to take precautions, but it will not fall in your lap if someone gets sick. And I believe that, so you shouldn't beat yourself up over it.
Prudence, I definitely appreciate that. But again, I will do my job to the best of my ability to make sure that, again, we're providing the safest environment.
Right. I think that we all are doing the best of our ability, but, we have to at some point, make a decision on what you feel as a parent is in the best interest of your child. And if it's to play sports, we've got to trust you guys that you're doing what you need to be doing or what you think is right, and don't second guess every decision y'all make.
Got it. And Andre, I will add, that point that you brought up was part of the conversation that I've had. And kind of one of the conversations that has extended this process was that this athletics is different. It is different from what we're doing, what people are doing in school. And that's why this conversation has been stretched out in many schools as long as it has.
Oh, I get that. And I certainly appreciate everything that you guys in Shelton have been doing. And we will make the best decision for our kids. It's just, it's unfortunate that all of our kids are going to suffer, to some degree of losing out, of participating, of playing, of having that part of their school career kind of thing. So it's just, it's a tough situation.
Coach, is it possible, I'm hearing what you're saying, Ms. Andrea, and you mentioned that TAPS did come out with some guidelines for volleyball. Just out of curiosity, is there a place we could go to read that, to see like what ideas are even being pitched, so we can just kind of know where things are?
They did. So it wasn't a written one, it was a video. And my understanding is that they generally record those and post them. Kelly, I know Kelly, Coach HK were both there. Hey, Kelly, did they mention where that we could get that video?
It'll be on the TAPS website. I don't know if it's there. It'll be on the TAPS website. TAPS.biz.
Coach, I just got an email from TAPS saying that it is now on the website just now. It's just now been uploaded.
Perfect. Appreciate that, Coach.
Okay. So I can send out to all the parents if I need to.
I appreciate that, guy.
So, Coach, I just want to just for some clarity. So I'm clear that there's no non-contact workouts next week, team workouts, and that's fluid. Might not happen until September 8th when drop dead date. So and so I'm just to be clear, this is a Shelton decision, not a TAPS decision. And do we know what the other schools in our district are doing? I mean, are they going through the same thing? Are they starting summer workouts next week? Do we have any clarity on what the other schools in our district are doing?
Go ahead, Coach Jones.
So my conversations with the different schools have been very interesting. Kelly, we might need to move all of this part. Thank you. Thanks for muting me too, Kelly. I appreciate that. So my meetings with the district have been very interesting. And I say that because we have a variety of different personalities in these athletic director positions. I won't go into talking about names and all of the people or what school they're with, but there's quite the range of very conservative departments. And then you have some that are very gung-ho. We're going to do it the way we've always done it. We're going to put a few protocols in play, but we're going to get ready and we're going to play and win state. Yeah. Well, I found it very interesting that that's what happened in that first meeting. And I remember that coach saying that. And I left that meeting a little concerned because I was saying to myself, I'm doing everything to protect my kids, and then I'm going to expose my kids to that. Well, interesting enough was that next meeting that I had, which was 2 weeks later, that same AD was doing his Zoom call from a pink girl's bedroom because he was quarantined because he caught the COVID. So after that, his interpretation of how we address this has completely changed. He's all about calling and conferring and figuring out how we keep the kids safe now that, you know, it has affected him directly. And unfortunately, that's how a lot of people operate in our society. Is it's not real until it gets close. I've had a number of people in my circle who've been affected by this, and that may have affected how I am addressing this. But living with a kid with asthma, I am going to be as cautious with your kid as I would be with mine.
Amen. I just said amen.
Oh,
I agree.
thank you, Julie.
Amen. Second that one. So, Coach, just for the volleyball, let me go on to the parents and any of my athletes on here. Keep working hard on the program I sent you, the jump program and all the skills from the house. We just never know what's going to go on, or like Coach was saying, we don't know if we're going to go on. I've been in all the meetings with TAPS, the UIL and stuff like that, and there's a lot going on still, but we're like a lot of Coach said, everybody's working on it. We're just trying to be as digitally we can, and just keep working hard on the home program, and then just listen as we get emails. Check your emails. I've been sending emails out and I haven't got many responses, so our parents need to get on email me back, let me know you're there, let me know you're still live, because I haven't gotten any but a handful of emails. So I wanted to set up a Zoom with my parents, and I haven't gotten anything but about 6 emails back out of 35 girls. And so I just need to make sure I've called some. A lot of them were out of town. So I need to stay in contact with me. I need to stay in contact with you in order to keep everybody up what's going on with the COVID, our volleyball program, season, training, and practices. I keep working hard at home. If you need me to send you more videos on training and stuff or anything else, or if you have any questions, please feel free to email me. And then we can talk on the phone and proceed from there. That's all my volleyball girls and parents.
Coach Jones?
Yes, ma'am.
Terry Scannell here. My daughter is in all 3 sports, right? So is she going to get in a circumstance if we don't know, and I'm asking this for everybody, sport, right, and then a spring sport, will we still have that penalty of, if we're still waiting around to see if cross country goes in Charlotte's situation, are we going to have that? Will we have to wait and see, and then she can't go play basketball? And I know that we don't know if basketball is going to be there, but is it better to drop this sport? Sorry, Coach Young, I'm kidding. But in other words, we're not going to have that same situation where because of COVID, they can't move to the next sport. Like, this isn't going to, just because she's in the fall sport, you know, because we've had that issue before, and I know Cecil loves it when they're in, basketball championships and not at track. But are we going to have that situation where this is going to, like, if they push this season, is that going to impact Charlotte's ability to play basketball? And then if they push basketball, what about track? And if we decide that our kid is better at one of the sports, should we just hold on to that?
So the first part of what you said we didn't get, because I think it was breaking up. But I think that I can surmise, or I can answer that question by saying we're literally going to be as flexible as we can. This is a situation that nobody could have foreseen. And then in addition to that, this is good for me. Being able to sit in the room with all of our parents is good for me because it helps me understand what works for our kids and what doesn't work. That whole rule about, sitting out a couple of days was put in effect to protect our kids. It wasn't to hold them back from jumping to the next sport. It really was to give them a breather in between sports because, a lot of our coaches are high pressure. The old guy with the last name Young, he may be pressuring Charlotte to jump straight from basketball into track. That rule was really put in effect to give her that buffer to say, nope, Coach Jones said I ain't got to be there for 2 days. I can literally go eat ice cream and browns and all that good stuff for 2 days, and then I'll come there after that. So we'll be flexible. Again, I'm telling our coaches, hey, we want to be as flexible as possible. This is a difficult situation for everybody. I don't want you stressing over that. I think Charlotte, I think the world of her. She is probably a better athlete than I ever was mentally. So I admire her and I appreciate all that she brings to the table. And I don't think anybody questions her effort and, you know, her, and look forward to having her. So there we are.
Coach, quick, I know that I was understanding that we were going to be closing the facility for I guess workout at the Coy location, or moving it. Where are we on that? Are we going to be able to have that facility for the kids to be able to still work out at, or not?
Say that. Oh, you said, okay, I see what you're saying. Okay. When you said Coit, I for some reason was thinking the old school campus. So you're talking about the SEC.
Yes, sir.
Perfect. That is a part of this whole conversation. One of the things I don't know if I can say this on here, and I'm getting recorded. That is a big part of my conversation. One of the things that is required in order to social distance these kids is space. Moving on to this new campus without the second phase being there, we are going to be limited on space. So the school is looking at every option. I think that's the best way I can word that. So we're looking at every option that we can to maximize our space, to gain extra space, and I'll leave that there.
Okay, thank you. And by the way, I want to appreciate all the coaches and you and your staff for working through something that has so many moving parts. I can't imagine being in your shoes, and I know that you're going to make the best decision for our kids you can.
I appreciate that, big guy. All right. Well, I will close out if we don't have any other questions.
Hold on 1 second. I got a couple of text messages. For those that just sent me that, yes, keep working on the videos I sent you and the jump program. The jump program is a 8-week course on that jump program. Make sure you can start. It goes all the way to 14 weeks. So just repeat it and keep going all the way to 14 weeks if you have already done the 8 weeks since I sent it out in June. If you have any questions on how to do it or anything, let me know. I can increase that program to make it, if your athlete has already done that program for the jump program, I can increase that program to get them another 2 or 3 inches, but you'll have to call me so I can tell you how to do it, or email me so I can send you some more stuff on that. Other than that, that should be it. If you have any other questions, anybody out there, just email me and I'll answer the email, and I'll definitely give you a call if I need to.
Hey, Coach HK.
Yes, sir.
One thing that occurs to me that could be kind of a outside the box possibility to develop the volleyball kids is looking for maybe an outdoor sand court where practice could occur. Is that an option in any capacity?
Glad you asked that. We've already looked into that, and still with the rules and everything in the way just to keep everybody safe, it's impossible. Coach Jones and I have been discussing about finding an outdoor facility. Me being a volleyball for so long and knowing a lot of gyms, I've contacted all 14 friends of mine that own gyms. They will not let outsiders in the gym to rent it because they're liable for it. So, I mean, every parent would have to sign a liability. Then we'd have to get the school's attorneys involved. Then we still have to get the medical director involved. And Coach Jones would have to bring it to the board. So it's just the same stuff that we're doing.
Well, I guess what I was asking was, outdoor, literally sand volleyball.
That is exactly the same.
Grass volleyball, not inside anybody's facility, just finding a court somewhere that's outside.
Right, and these were outside. They do have sand volleyball, and it just wouldn't work. Yeah, because they have their own programs that they're doing, especially with USA Volleyball being down and all the club volleyballs. Everybody's taking all those courts because nobody wants to take on responsibility for the liability. And I think Coach Jones could probably answer some other stuff for that.
Yeah,
thank you.
Mr. Dogwalla, I will say that we did look into that. As a matter of fact, when we started this conversation, we were looking at the possibility of using our old campus to facilitate workouts. And I don't know if you guys are aware of it, but the church over there by our old field actually has a sand volleyball court. But again, having all of our equipment moved from our current campus to that campus just seemed a little bit overkill, where we still have to work on the plan for working on the new campus. Realistically, we would love for the girls to be able to go out on their own to these places. But again, we don't want to assemble a group of girls together and run the risk of any of this stuff happening while we're there.
Thank you.
Not a problem, guy. All right, guys. I appreciate you guys. I'm about to go enjoy some of this good barbecue chicken pizza from Palio's. Appreciate you guys joining us. I know it's right about dinner time. So you guys be safe and stay healthy. And I look forward to talking to you guys soon.
Okay.
Thank you, Coach Jones.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.